Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to jump into a topic that, let's be honest, is on pretty much every parent's mind: child development milestones. We're going to break down what they are, what you should be looking for, and really how to feel confident on this incredible journey from birth all the way up to age 5.
And let's just start right here, shall we? Because this feeling, it is so universal. You know that little voice in the back of your head, the one that compares and worries? Almost every single parent experiences that. So this whole explainer is really about turning that anxiety into confidence.
And that really brings us to the first and most important thing to remember. Milestones are not some test your child has to pass. It's not a race they need to win. A much better way to think about them is like a helpful map for a journey, not some rigid set of rules you have to follow.
So what are they exactly? Well, at their core, milestones are just markers. And they're not just made up. They're based on decades of research into how kids typically grow. They basically tell us what the majority of children are usually doing by a certain age. They're a starting point, a way to understand this amazing process of growth. Okay, so how do experts even keep track of all this growth? Well, they break it down into 5 key areas. First, you've got your gross motor skills. That's all the big stuff, walking, running, jumping. Then there are fine motor skills for all those delicate movements, like picking up a single pea. And of course, you've got speech and language, social and emotional connection, and finally, that big cognitive piece: how they think, how they learn, and how they play. Now this right here, this is probably one of the most important takeaways. See, one kid might walk at 10 months, and another at 15 months, and guess what? Both are completely and totally typical. Some babies even skip crawling altogether and go straight to walking. What's crucial to remember is the overall progress, not hitting one specific skill on one specific day. So, with that in mind, let's take a quick trip through those first 5 wild years. We're going to look at the big picture to see how all those little skills start to build on each other over time. We'll break it down into 3 main stages. You've got that incredible first year, which is just full of firsts. Then comes the toddler explosion, from 1 to 3. And finally, the growing social world of the preschool years, from ages 3 to 5. The first year is, well, it's just breathtaking, isn't it? A baby goes from this tiny, totally dependent newborn to a little person who can move around, communicate what they want, and has a real personality just shining through. The amount of change is faster than at any other time in life. It's just incredible. And you can really see that change right here. I mean, think about it. Sitting up all on their own, making those first ba-ba-ba sounds that sound just like a real conversation. And that pincer grasp, the ability to pick up something tiny between their thumb and forefinger, that's a huge cognitive leap. And pointing? That's a total game changer. That's them saying, hey, you, look at that thing with me.
And then, just when you think you've got this baby thing figured out, everything just accelerates. That's why we call this the toddler explosion. It's when independence, language, and those big, wonderful, and sometimes maddening personalities just burst onto the scene.
All of a sudden, they're not just walking, they are running everywhere. Their language just explodes from a few words to over 50 by the time they're 2, and they start stringing them together. More milk, daddy go. And you've got to watch for that shift into pretend play, like feeding a doll or talking on a toy phone. That's the beginning of imagination and empathy right there.
All right, that brings us to the final stage we're covering, the preschool years. This is all about their world getting bigger, expanding beyond just the family. It's about making friends, thinking in more complex ways, and getting ready for that next big adventure, school.
And the skills here just get so much more complex. You start hearing these full, detailed sentences. You'll see them hopping on one foot, drawing a person with a head and legs. And this one is huge. They start truly playing with other kids, not just next to them. They can even tell you a simple story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's amazing! Okay, so we've seen what's typical. We've seen the highlight reel. But I know the question in the back of your mind is, when should I actually be concerned? This next part is all about empowering you to know when it might be time to just check in with a professional.
This slide is so important for putting your mind at ease. On the left, you see typical variations, like a kid who skips crawling or one who mixes up me and I. Totally normal stuff. On the right, though, are the signs that are worth having a conversation about. The biggest one? Losing skills they once had, or consistent patterns, like not responding to their name or not putting 2 words together by age 2.
So here's the crucial point. If you do have a concern, acting on it is the absolute best thing you can do. The research on this is overwhelming. Getting support earlier, when a child's brain is the most adaptable, leads to significantly better outcomes. There is literally no harm in just checking, but there's a huge potential benefit.
So if you do decide to check in, who do you even talk to? Let's meet the team of professionals who specialize in exactly this.
Your main team usually consists of 3 key specialists. First, you have a speech pathologist, who is your go-to for all things communication. Then there's an occupational therapist, or OT. They help with the jobs or occupations of childhood, things like playing, getting dressed, even managing big emotions. And finally, a physiotherapist focuses on those big, gross motor skills, like walking, balance, and coordination.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from motor skills to language. But let's bring it all back to the single most important expert in the room.
And that expert is you. This is the ultimate takeaway. Guidelines are helpful, checklists are fine, but your parental instinct is incredibly powerful. If something just feels a little off to you, that is more than enough reason to ask a question. Because you are the one who sees your child day in and day out.
So just remember, the goal isn't to be ahead of the curve or to be the best or the first. It's just about supporting your child's continuous, unique growth. And that leaves us with one last question to think about. What's one small, amazing thing your child did recently that you can celebrate just for them today?